Hi, everyone, and welcome. This is Vince of vinceprep.com, and I'm having a virtual fireside chat with one of my favorite clients of all time, May, who's now graduated from MBA. And we caught up a month ago or so, and I wanted to make a video because I just find her story to be so compelling and so interesting, and the things that she's been able to do with her degree and with her life. So we wanted to catch up. So welcome, May.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure and my honor to be here.
So we worked together many years ago when you were applying for MBA. And why did you initially decide to do that, to apply to MBA?
Yes, I saw MBA as a way for me to as a way to really accelerate a change in both my personal life and career. So at that time, I've been working living in Tokyo for I think more than 4 years in total. And I felt going overseas for an MBA program is a nice break for me in terms of like personal life and also the network that I can have, the type of people I can meet, and as well as a stepstone to my next level of my career. So there was a lot of alternatives and options at that time. You could, for example, transfer to an overseas office and something like that. But I found MBA was the best option for me at that time in terms of the change that I was hoping for. So
And where did you go to school?
I went to Columbia Business School in the center of New York, as it's usually branded as.
And you'd lived in New York previously for work.
Yes, yes, I did. So my first master's degree was in UPenn in Philadelphia,
Hmm.
and then I during my master's degree, I did summer internship in New York, and I just fell in love with the city, really loved the vibe. So I went back to the city for my full-time job after graduating from UPenn, and then worked there for a short period of time and then transferred to Tokyo office within the same company in 2013. Yeah, and then I stayed for about 4 years before I left for New York again for my MBA.
How was it? This is a new question I didn't share before, but comparing the New York the first time you lived there and then back there as a student, what was different?
Yeah, it was very different in a lot of ways. I felt when you were a professional, especially pre-MBA professional in New York, at that time I was just like I was feel like I was thrown into a very intense and super competitive environment. And you definitely felt that New York is a very cutting throat environment in terms of like professionally. Um, and back to New York as a student really allowed me to experience the city in a very different way in terms of the relationships you have, the type of people you encountered, and just have more fun in New York. I think well because you have more time as a student. So yeah, so it felt very different. And also, I think after several years as a professional, in way, how to say that, like in a very different city from New York as a professional working full time, and then back to New York City again. And you naturally also got to see the city and experience that in a very different way. So yeah, I really love the experience both. The first time it taught me how to, survive and how to be a mature professional because that was like my literally my first career after school, and then back to New York again, and it told me um, different lessons in life too. So I feel really grateful for both experiences.
When you were applying to school, what were some of the best practices that worked well for you with the application. I assume most people watching this video are back where you were a few years ago, in the middle of applying or starting to think about applying. So what was helpful for you at that time?
Yeah, so I think what really helped me is I talked to a lot of people. I know normally, you do coffee chats and you do like informational interviews with some alum from the target schools, but I think I just did way beyond than the normal or average number of interviews that people usually have. Um, and how that helped me is, first of all, it allowed me to hear different experiences and different opinions from different people and give me a more, I would say, a well-rounded picture about a particular school or about MBA experiences overall. And I think that, of course, some interview, some conversation you had, you can write that into your essay. Some cannot be, but it's still super helpful for me to kind of have a picture about what my MBA life would be, and I can manage my expectation. Because sometimes people, even like, I think it happened every year, most people have had very positive experiences from an MBA, but some people after graduation, they were like, I thought MBA would be like this, but it's actually below my expectation. So I think by having that many conversations upfront really helped me manage my expectation and know what I should expect and what I can do to manage the potential downside there. So I think this is something I felt super helpful during my application.
Nice. Once you got to CBS, what surprised you the most about the actual experience versus your expectations?
Yes. I think one surprise that I had, well, I knew upfront, MBAs have a lot of networking events. You meet a lot of different people from different backgrounds. But still, I was very surprised by the opportunities you actually get to be put in front of. So for example, people talked about, for CBS, and I also wrote that in my essay, like in-semester internships. But just being in this city and being surrounded by people who are from the same circle or the same ecosystem really opened up so many opportunities for me. So for example, I think I mentioned that in our previous conversation, but I had in total 5 internships for my entire MBA.
5, wow.
Yeah,
is that a lot?
I would say yes, that's a lot. And normally people, I think MBAs, they start their internships maybe from spring semester to second semester in the first year, and then most people would do at least one summer internship. So how I got 5, I think, is also how some of them are from an adjunct professor teaching a class, and approached him, say, hey, I want to intern at your VC fund. Some are a second year, when I was first year, and the second year student was like, hey, I worked for this firm before and they're actively looking for an intern, not publicly shared yet, but if you're interested, I can flag your name to the hiring manager. So all those opportunities really came through in a way that I didn't expect before. So I was really surprised by the wealth of opportunities that I was exposed to. Yeah, I think that's one. There are a lot, many we can talk for this topic for about another hour, but yeah, I will stop here and see if any other questions.